It is I, Snowdecker. Welcome back to another YouTube video of Snowbreak in the Sands of Secrets. On to the next story, Innocent Blossom. Witness her joy, sadness, and growth. Well, that's a nice background. This is the story of the divine bird and the sinister worm. A long, long time ago, when the desert was a vast ocean, and the mountains slumbered beneath the waves, the homeless and the wandering prayed to a god for a sanctuary to call their own. They yearned for a life on solid ground, just like their blessed kin, and for that they were willing to pay any price. In response, the god sent a bird. With its sharp beak and claws, it painstakingly brought soil, plants and stones to toss into the boundless sea, slowly transforming it into land. At first, the people waited patiently, their prayers brimming with hope and gratitude. But as time wore on and progress was slow, patience turned to frustration, and their reverence curdled into resentment. Yeah, it's putting in words like that that confuses the crap out of me. Curdled? Why not just say turned into? I mean, come on. They're just changing the words to try to make it look better sentence-wise, but all it does is confuse the crap out of people. Especially me. Once they realized the price was an eternity of waiting, and that the promised land might never surface, they stripped the god of its visage in anger and turned their hopes to a sinister worm. Oh, to the sinister worm, sorry. Which had long rooted deep in the earth, growing larger with every passing day as it burrowed aimlessly underground. Thus deserts arose and mountains stretched toward the heavens. The faceless god became a hollow puppet, a testament to failure standing amidst the sands and winds. Yet the divine bird still tirelessly traversed between the ocean and the deserts, its cries echoing as it brought faint blessings to this isolated, forsaken land. Nope, I can't read anymore. What's all this nonsense? I mean, I thought it was a good story. And sorry, I got up for a moment to stretch my legs. And honestly, it is getting a little bit colder out, so I put on a second jacket. I'm probably going to burn up here in a few minutes, but I don't mind. She furrowed her brow, puffing out her cheeks in frustration. Let me read, thank you. Before tossing the cloth covered in scribbles onto the coffee table. With an exasperated sigh, she threw herself back onto the sofa. "4 hours ago, after reliving another of Boo Boo's combat encounters in the spindle system, Yao and I had successfully brought Freesia out. The intelligence we'd retrieved was now being meticulously analyzed by various departments. The cloth Freesia had been poring over was one such piece of evidence. Using 3D printing, we managed to recreate certain physical artifacts from Boo Boo's findings. Nice touch. Ones that were otherwise inaccessible to help us better understand what she'd uncovered. That particular piece of cloth had been handed to Boo Boo during her mission 6 months ago by the last beating local she had made contact with. I'm sorry, this is all I can do. People here no longer dare, nor are we allowed to speak the truth. So is the truth hidden somewhere between these lines? The story reads like a cipher, fragments of altered folklore stitched together to conceal a hidden message. Classic coded narrative technique. They say they're too scared or forbidden to speak the truth, yet they secretly leave written clues for outsiders. The people here are real characters. I don't follow. One simple hypothesis is that the people there want to be saved. They're waiting for outsiders like Boo Boo to uncover the truth and free them. And a more cynical take would be that they're just biding their time, enduring their misery, while quietly looking for the right opportunity to break free. And there you go again with your conspiracy theories. Loosen up a little, will you? You don't have to chase down every possibility to the very end. Don't you get tired? Very, very tired. So tired, in fact, I can't even sleep right no more. There's a crick in my neck that will never go away. Leaning forward, she looped her arms around my neck from behind, resting her chin on my shoulder, while her sharp eyes focused on the cloth sprawled across the coffee table. The superstition is real, and so is some of what's written here. We just need to figure out what's truth and what's smoke and mirrors. Something doesn't add up. What do you mean? Cheng-Sing, who had been quietly seated at the far end of the couch, suddenly spoke up. She reached out, picking up the cloth lying on the table. If this cloth was meant to deliver a message to the outside world, why would they lie about the most critical detail? Lie? About what exactly? The basics. Something so fundamental that even a child wouldn't fall for it. Anyone who's been to Beeding would notice the glaring hole in their story immediately. Adjutant, do you remember this? That's... Wait, why do you have it? She held a small wooden carving, something I'd made from memory after logging off the spindle system. I borrowed it from the Intelligence Analysis Department. They said you carved this because some of the data couldn't be recreated with 3D printing. Yeah, that's right. Is something wrong with it? Oh, there's plenty wrong. This thing shouldn't even exist in Beeding, or more precisely, nothing like it existed there 12 years ago. She let out a soft smirk and placed the wooden carving, an accurate replica of the statues we saw in Beeding, onto the coffee table with a firm thud. The crisp sound of the carving hitting the table was like a resonating gong, striking deeply into the hearts of everyone present. Coming from anyone else, such a claim might have been met with skepticism, but this was Cheng-Sing. Her word was beyond question. Even with our recent experience of intense simulated combat, a shiver still ran down our spines. Frisha practically sprang upright like a startled fish. Her body taut as she fixed an eager, wide-eyed gaze on Cheng-Sing. I knew it. I knew there was something fishy going on here. Quick, spill it already. It's actually quite straightforward. 12 years ago, I took a trip to Beeding. My family brought me along to visit a distant relative. We drove across the desert plains of Beeding. Did you stop anywhere along the way? No. For Shuzo people, Beeding has always been a taboo subject. People avoid discussing it, let alone interacting with the locals. Back then, because of some sensitive family matters, the elders wanted to keep a low profile. So we took a route almost no one else would, one that happened to pass through Beeding. It was August, blistering hot, with the sun beating down relentlessly. I was just a child and didn't know any better, so I rolled down the window to look outside. One of the elders scolded me right away. That's why I remember that day so vividly. The elders told me Beeding was a place outsiders could never truly understand, a land where people lived solely off what the land could offer. I see, so you're saying that there's no way that any merchants could be able to go through and interact with them in a manner to create stuff like that. Pretty clever. At first, I didn't connect that memory with our investigation, but after seeing this carving, it all started to click. Frisha, do you remember the details about those stone statues you saw? Details? Well, so far I've only seen two types. Some stand upright, stretching tens or even hundreds of meters high. That's an odd way to type that, but okay. You think they'd work as landmarks, but they don't help with navigation at all. As for their arrangement, it's completely random. If you try to follow them, you'll just end up lost. And even though you mentioned those statues weren't around 12 years ago, they look quite old. Now that is fascinating. Do they look badly damaged or withered? The overall shapes are intact, but up close their surfaces are a mess. And here's the strange part, the damage doesn't even seem like natural erosion. This is especially true for the toppled ones. So not only do they not have any merchants interacting, but they shouldn't have those statues either. This is fascinating. Normally in a place like Beeding, where earthquakes are rare, something that massive wouldn't just topple over, unless either they were built on unstable ground and collapsed over time, or someone deliberately demolished them with explosives. But the way those statues lie on the ground doesn't match their scenario. Either scenario, sorry. What do you mean? There are no blast holes, and their bases show no signs of structural failure. It's almost like the statues came to life and just lay down on their own. And here's the most unusual part. Both the standing and toppled statues contain traces of Tytogen. The adjutant and I both felt it. If there's a metaphor that fits, it's like someone introduced Tytogen into them, like termites eating away at wood from the inside. It's possible. Hey, Adjutant, do you think it's possible that the statues collapsed due to Tytogen corrosion, like what happened in New Hantiro? She hit upon exactly what I've been pondering, but even that plausible explanation had its flaws. The amount of Tytogen in the statues was minimal, hardly enough to cause such damage. There are two things that don't add up. First, was such a small amount of Tytogen. It would take ages to cause a collapse. Second, why are some statues still standing while others have collapsed? This is quite the riddle. Hold on a sec, there's something obviously odd that neither of you have brought up yet. Though I'm not sure how big a deal it is. What is it? There are no traces of any statues in the middle of the desert, but around the oasis, they're suddenly everywhere. Doesn't that strike you as odd? That is odd. Yao swung her long legs over the back of the couch and settled into her signature laid-back sprawl on the cushions. Then she pointed out something so subtle that all of us had overlooked it. Think about it. If we take Chengsing's memory of a baseline, these statues must have been built within the last 12 years. From what we've learned, Beeding is isolated, unwelcoming to outsiders. With some unique local customs, if these statues were meant to reinforce that image, wouldn't it make sense to place them out in the open desert like gatekeepers or a big warning signs to keep outsiders away? Good point. Outsiders, right. The locals did refer to Boo Boo as an outsider. But instead, what did they do? They turned the desert into an intricate maze so cleverly designed that even we got lost. And the statues, they're tucked away in the oasis and deep within the canyon. as if someone was trying to keep them out of sight. If these statues were built by the locals, this doesn't at all align with their supposed intentions. Then if it wasn't the locals who built them, Taigu Connect, the Beating Division, the mercenaries. These days it's not uncommon for logistics companies to maintain armed security forces for safer transport. But those guys we saw through Boo Boo's eyes, they were far more dangerous than what you typically expect from a logistics escort team. The statues were built by someone. The Taijin inside them was placed there by human hands. The locals of Beating, they've been victims all along. So when Boo Boo reached out to them, or rather when the Taigu Connect mercenaries found out the locals were interacting with her, there's nothing there. Come on, stay focused. We've got to get to the canyon before dark. Yeah, back into the mine. The mine. What are you mumbling about, Adjutant? Hand me that cloth. My head was swimming, juggling too many pieces of information from too many sources. I couldn't even tell which ones were reliable, yet somewhere deep in my subconscious, a coherent thread had already begun to weave itself together. Sure, here you go. Grabbing the scarf-like cloth from Freesia, I quickly scanned for the lines that had been nagging at me. There it is. They stripped the god of its visions and anger and turned their hopes into a sinister worm, which had long rooted deep in the earth, growing larger with every passing day as it burrowed aimlessly underground. Oh, so those are the lines that matched with that. Cool. So that was the one that actually mattered. What a carefully constructed riddle. Adjutant, have you figured something out? Chenxing, earlier you mentioned that 12 years ago, one of your family elders said the people of Beiding lived solely off of what the land could offer. Were those their exact words? Yes, lived solely off of what the land could offer. Okay, do you know if there are mines or other similar operations around Beiding? I can't say for sure, but I do know my family once held an ancestral property deep in Beiding. It's been abandoned for years, though. Why would your family just throw away a property like that? Did something happen? Because it has ties to Zero. Zero? Yes, it was a long time ago, but back then Zero was pretty close with the Jai family, and began assisting in managing that property. Now it's all making sense. After the Jai family hit hard times, Zero severed all ties with us, for reasons I'm not clear on. None of the remaining family members took over that property. Adjutant, if you think it might be an important lead, I can start digging into it immediately. Yes, please, leave no stone unturned. Understood. Chenxing rose briskly and headed straight toward the office building's entrance. Freesia, who had been sitting next to her, widened her eyes, glancing back and forth between Yao and me. Then, as if reaching a breaking point, she abruptly got up and stepped in front of me. Could you two please not leave me in the dark like this? I still don't have a clue. And you call yourself a professor? Come on, keep up. Oh, it's not like that, Professor Freesia, honestly. I'm just as lost as you are. Adjutant, please don't talk in riddles. I'm not cut out for mental gymnastics. It's exhausting. Then sleep less. Holding their hands, one on each side, I stood up as they looked at me in bewilderment. No more riddles. Let's go somewhere we can find evidence, lay out the facts, and connect the dots. Ah yes, the desert. So wonderful this time of night. I love how all the trees have died. No, I actually don't love that. That is sad. That's very, very sad. Moments later, I led the two of them back into the spindle system to dive deeper into the data Boo Boo had left behind. Right now, or rather 6 months ago at this exact moment, beating was nearing dusk. In the valley shaded by mountains, some areas were already enveloped in darkness. Seems like time doesn't flow the same here as in reality. I've been trying to wrap my head around just how much Boo Boo managed to pull off since we first logged in. In less than a day, she infiltrated this deep into beating from the outskirts solo, while facing those brutal fights. If she really did all that, just calling her a field agent feels like an understatement. The system might be functional now, but it's still far from perfect. It can't fully convert every second of a field agent's experiences into recorded data yet. Signal interference, environmental factors, physiological conditions. There are so many technical issues we haven't tackled. Right now we can only see the parts Boo Boo chose to upload, which is why piecing together her entire investigation is so difficult. Adjutant, you said we're here to find evidence, but what exactly are we looking for? We're looking for the Iron Ouroboros. Huh? Iron what now? Tell you what, let me share a story. If you still don't know what we're looking for by the end, we'll log out and get some rest while waiting for Checksing's findings. Is it going to be a long story? Why? You got a lab experiment you want to get back to? Such a shame. I thought you wanted to have some chemistry here on the field. I tease. Just a few lines. The two of them exchanged glances, then plopped on the ground in unison, looking at me with amused curiosity, ready to hear an intriguing tale. First time hearing a story from you in a place like this, Alright, let's hear it. 12 years ago, there were no stone statues in Beating, but the locals had their own beliefs. At some point during these past 12 years, someone or perhaps a group of people, whose identities remain unknown, began meddling in this secluded, insular place for their own selfish reasons. They turned Beating into their personal testing ground, using the Taigu Connect mercenaries as their eyes and hands. They transformed the surrounding desert into a maze designed to disorient intruders. In the oasis and canyon, they erected colossal statues. Just say built, man, come on. They took control of the locals, stripping away both their freedom and their faith. Stripped away their faith? Exactly. Remember what Boo Boo overheard during the battle? We gave what should have been offered to it to someone else. If it refers to the deity the locals originally worshipped, then according to the writing on that cloth, it must have been the only... Did it again. I keep adding words that are not there. It must be the one they prayed to for land. Oh, and here's another interesting detail. Do you remember what those people were wearing? Taigu Connect uniforms. That could mean that some of the mercenaries doing the dirty work for the outsiders were recruited from the local population, right? Sharp as ever. I'm starting to piece it all together. In that case, how about you take over and continue the story for me, Professor Frisha? Sure thing, I'm up for it. What do you say, Yao? I'm with the adjutant. Can't wait to hear Professor Frisha spin a tale. Alright, first off, let me decode that confusing mess written on that piece of cloth. I had to admit, once our little genius mind clicked into gear, her ability to zero in on the key points was truly remarkable. Simply put, a group of outsiders came here and struck a deal with the locals. Given everything we know already know, whatever. If the divine bird represents the way the people of Beeding used to live, then the sinister worm or iron Ouroboros must symbolize the new way of life. My throat is drying out. Gosh. Brought by these outsiders, something that completely reshaped everything for the locals. Rooted deep in the earth, burrowed aimlessly underground, the mine lived off what the land could offer, the Jai family ancestral property. All these seemingly unrelated pieces might actually point to the same thing. Right beneath Beeding, under our very feet, there's likely a mine producing some unknown mineral. I said that not too while ago. I was right on the money. Hold on a second. Didn't this whole investigation start because we received that report? Exactly. The report claimed that awakening dust contains a mineral that likely originated from Beeding. Looking at it now, everything here has probably been nothing more than a distraction. A trap set by our enemies to mislead us. A distraction? Exactly. This entire place is riddled with distractions. The desert's labyrinth. Let me read, thank you. Labyrinthine? I don't know how to say that, whatever. Terrain. The statues, the local customs, the superstitions, and the confusing local lore, everything here is designed to misdirect us. Oh, you mean like this event that keeps misdirecting me from all the story that I want to get on with, and I keep having to go to another event after that, and another, and another, and another. What's that? There's gonna be another event after this one? Oh, shocker. I'm just calling it now, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna do that anyways. Their common purpose is to hide one thing, to keep anyone from asking one specific question. You mentioned earlier that it's like someone evenly spread Taijin across this place. So its source must be underground, but what exactly is down there? Just like before, Yao bent down, scooped up a handful of sand, and let it sift through her fingers. Only this time there was a steely determination in her gaze. Gentle movements. Bingo! Who brought it here? How did... I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen. How they did it, and why they did it. It all boils down to these three questions. If that's the case, Boo Boo must have uncovered some truths related to those questions. That's why she was targeted. Exactly. So all we need to do now is ignore the noise and stay focused on the data Boo Boo left. Frisha, watch your step. Oh no, what'd she do now? Yao's sudden warning cut Frisha off. She froze mid-step, her foot hovering in the air. The three of us simultaneously looked in the direction under her foot, and there it was. Look at that. There's our evidence. I think I've had enough cutesy artwork for a while. I will admit, though, this is nice art. I'll give you that much. Yes, it is beautiful. Like an otherworldly iris, there grew a strange flower blooming defiantly amidst the barren, gravelly terrain? Whatever. I'm so tired of misreading stuff on here. I'm just sick of it. It doesn't look like something that someone planted here, does it? She beamed at Yao and me. gesturing for us to join her in admiring the flower up close. It's so delicate. Look at the texture of these petals, the veins in the leaves. It looks so real. If I'd also been here 6 months ago, I would have taken it back and preserved it as a specimen. She reached out toward the flower as she spoke, as if she could pluck this delicate bloom and claim it for her own. But such an act defying the divine of time and space between... Let me read. Thank you. Stop that. Between now and then proved futile. The flower seemed to possess a will of its own. Its petals began to fall away before our eyes, swirling gracefully in the still air. That's a shame. In the blink of an eye, it vanished completely, leaving only a familiar, stifling heaviness that seeped into my senses. Such a shame. That is a shame. It looked so beautiful, delicate, and innocent, and yet it reeked of poison. Emerging from the ground, crafted with such exquisite detail and precision, whoever made this must be a master at manipulating Tytogen. Adjutant, that Rosen lady you fought, she's capable of something like this, isn't she? We can't rule out others entirely, though. Before I could respond, Freesia had already voiced my thoughts. What surprised me was the familiar yet rare tone in her voice. It was the voice of Freesia Ignis, the resolute Heimdall operative ready for battle with steely determination. This flower is like an invitation to an academic conference. It conveniently grew right here, waiting for us to notice it, only to wither away the moment we did. That feels kind of sad. I understood the implication behind her words. This Tytogen flower blooming 6 months ago, yet now revealing itself in such a fleeting, deliberate fashion, was indeed too coincidental. And by seeing it and understanding its significance, it had become something more, an open challenge. Let's move. It's clear what we have to do next. Uh-huh. Let's help Boo Boo finish what she started. I'm in. Oh, is that where I'm going next? Fun. Nah, I want to charge on ahead. I should only need 2. I should be fine. I think.
Let's do this.
Hug the 6, hug the 6, hug the 6. Oh, that looked like it hurt.
I can't promise anything, okay?
You're all stupid.
Why don't these guns auto-load? Does nobody think about these things?
You're all incredibly stupid.
Anybody hurt? Let's do this.
Not my fault they're slow and dumb.
I can't promise anything, okay? Let's do this. Die for us later.
There we go. There we go. No thanks.
Just you wait. Are you sure I'm your best choice?
Yes, you are. Because I was going for long range. Say ah.
Who needs this the most?
They do,
You can't beat it? It's that strong?
because they're dead. Oh wait, they can't use it because they're dead? Okay, never mind. I'll take it then. Sup, fellas?
Just you wait. Don't know why you're even trying.
You don't mind if I tap in, do you?
I am
You want a
your
love tap?
destroyer, your protector. That's that sorted then.
I guess it was too much for him to handle.
Cha-ching.
Bum 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 ba-dum bum.
Huh? That's all they've got?
Yeah, that was kind of disappointing. It was nice though. Alright, let's get going. Ah.
いい場所があった分析今のフリティア先生はどこまでも見える へへハンターたるもの辛抱強くうえああ分析員なら絶対助けてくれると思った
This feels rushed. Well, that answers the whole story about the worm.
じゃないとこの魅力的な背中見失っちゃうわよ
Okay, I might be in a little bit more trouble than I originally thought.
Why don't these guns auto-load?
There we go, some nice damage. Aw. That's a shame. Nope, 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 we're not having that, not having that.
Yep.
Dang it. Come on, go down. Be a good boy and go down.
Why don't these guns auto-load? Does nobody think about these things? Lucia's effectiveness in combat.
There we go.
Varies based on height difference with
There
opponent.
we go.
どうフリティア
Forget your
先生
sausage. I caught me a
結構頼りにな
gigantic
るでしょ
metal worm. Way tastier. Yay, I did it. I beat the whole story. I don't even have to read this. Eh, whatever. I'll do that next one. Oh. Yay, more rewards. That works for me. Can I get anything? Anything new? I guess I could get the scope, but I don't really want it. I mean, there's nothing I really want or need. Just gonna be honest, alright? I don't really need any of this. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Alright, well, thank you everybody so much for watching. If you liked the video, then give it a like. If you want to see more, then please subscribe. And like always, this is Metasodiker signing off, and I will see you next time. So bye-bye. Have a great day, everybody. Don't forget to smile, because remember, a smile a day goes a long way. I hope to see you all back here again soon. And one more thing before you go, can you please check out the links in the description? And join the Discord server. While you're at it, recommend more games like this for me to play. Thank you, and have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.